I hope you guys have tried this particular steps what I've told yesterday. If you have faced any challenges, you can just talk to me. If you haven't tried, just give a try today and make sure you complete this particular setup by today itself, at least.
Actually, today also, when I reinstalled that Oracle system,
Uh,
it comes like the same old one. I'll show you.
okay,
See, it
share
comes
the
like
screen.
this.
Okay. Then what you can do, you can follow this particular steps. Okay. So here first you have to give a name. Name of the virtual machine it is. Okay. So do remember.
Virtual machine means in settings, I gave it as like
No, no,
that.
no. See, this is, I'll tell you. You are using a laptop, right?
Yeah,
Any mobile device or a computer or a PC will have a name that is called as a device name. Okay. Now, what I'm talking about, you are creating a virtual machine, right? You might be creating another virtual machine tomorrow. Okay. So, to
okay,
differentiate that, I have to give one name. I'm not talking about device name or host name. Okay. So, if
okay,
you go back once. See, just you can give a casual name, let us say Ubuntu server or something like that. It's up to you. See, the display name, we call it as. For example, on the left hand side, tomorrow, if you create another virtual machine, you have to identify it for what purpose you created that
yeah,
virtual machine.
okay,
That is a display name. Okay, this is fine. ISO you have selected. You can click on just detected always Ubuntu. Okay, we'll start the wizard of the close. Skip. Okay. Here you have to give some username password. Okay, so as I told you, either you can use a default one or you can set a new username password. Don't try to give any capital letters. It's not at all recommended. While you are working with Linux operating system or any operating system, username should not be in capital letters. Password, it's up to you. Yeah. Just make sure you
Is there
remember it.
any?
Here, there
Okay,
is a
fine.
host name, right? What are the name you have given to the system that is automatically added as a host name, but we cannot use like that space. Okay, that's the reason.
Yeah,
Give a proper. Now, this is what you are shown the in the system, right? That is device name. Here it is called as host name. Okay.
okay,
Where it is so important when one
excuse me.
system is communicating to another system in the network, they use a host name, okay, to communicate instead of IP address also.
Okay,
That is called as host name. So this point you will understand when I talk about networking. For now, just
yeah,
imagine that name and host name is quite different. Here you give a name, proper name. Let us say you just remove that space, that is sufficient, and remove the capital letter. Ubuntu server, just remove that particular U capital letter, that's it, and space. Yeah. Now you can see everything is good. You can see all the green color tick marks, right? Which means we are good. Just again,
yeah,
go
sure.
back.
Here
Oh, okay.
also we have
Here you
that.
can select 2 core CPU because you have 16 core CPUs, right? Just 1 second. No, I'm saying like what happened? Why you came here? Here also remove the spaces. Yeah. Server ER. That's okay. Install in background. Additional options. Install in background is there, right? You can select that actually.
Yeah, okay. We have to give tick
Here
mark.
you can see just a second. We checked headless boot will enable you to. Okay, not necessary. Go to the next step. You can deselect that. Hello.
Mm,
Yeah.
Network.
Now select 2 core CPU. You have 16 GB RAM, right? So you can select
Yeah.
at least 4 GB to make sure your system is working appropriately. 4 is not necessary. 4 core CPU is not necessary. 2 core is more than enough for our practice purpose. And
Okay.
4 GB RAM or 2 GB is also fine, but just give 4 GB or 3 GB. It's up to you because you have 16 GB RAM, more than enough. That is sufficient. Go to the next. Now 25 GB is also sufficient. You can leave that and you can go to the next. Now finish. That's all. You see, what is this called? You have selected plenty of options right till now, the steps. So it is showing you the summary.
Yeah.
That's all. It's going on. Okay. Once it is done, you will see the login page, similar what have seen, what you have seen
Yeah.
yesterday, right?
Yeah.
In my
Yes.
PC. So this is what you have to follow. Okay.
Okay.
So now, see, this is the virtual machine what I've created yesterday. Now, again, if I want to practice it, either you can right click and you can start from here, normal start, or we can use the option from here itself, or the third option is you can double click. Okay, so if you double click on the left side, it will start the virtual machine. You can see. So the virtual machine is getting started. So since I want to practice on Linux operating system, so whenever I want to do such, I'll just start the virtual machine and I will practice. So today we will learn some commands. Okay. I think the username password what I gave is test user and test 1, 2, 3. You can say I have logged in. The first screen what you have seen, for example, I'll show you once again. This is called as login screen, or we can say login page. Okay. So this is your login page. System got started. You have to understand that your Linux operating system is running right now. But the only thing is, if I need to interact with that, I have to log in. So I need to provide a username password, right? It is as simple as that. Now, here we have to log in the sense, yesterday we have set some username password, right? While installing the operating system. So that username password we have to provide in order to log in. So in my case, it is test user and the password what I've given. And remember, in Linux operating system, it will not show you how many characters you are typing while giving the password. It's not like Windows. In Windows, though there also you will not see the password, but you will come to know how many number of characters you have given in the password because it will show you the star. But in Linux operating system, it will not even show you anything. It is a hidden password. Okay, you have to imagine what you are typing right now. In my case, I'm giving test 1, 2, 3. Are you able to see that? No. So this is one of the advantage what we have in Linux operating system when we compare with any other operating system. Okay. So done. I was able to log in. After verifying whether the username password is valid or not by your operating system, it will allow you to log in. That's where I am right now. Okay. Now, if you want to clear the screen and if you want to go to the top of this particular screen, you can just either give clear this command and enter. You can see the screen has been cleared. Okay. Now, what is the first command we have to learn? Remember, this is your terminal right now. Means I'm typing here, I can type some commands. What are the commands I type right now? It will go to my operating system. The operating system will take this particular information and then it will do the job and then it will give me a response. That response you will see on the screen. Okay, so what is the input device for this right now? My keyboard. In the server edition, we can use only a keyboard. We can't use mouse. In the Linux operating system, in the server edition operating system, we can use only a keyboard as an input device. We can't use a mouse because it is not a GUI. So these are like fundamentals, what I'm teaching right now. This is nowhere related to interview questions. Okay. Now we can see the cursor is pointing over there. It is blinking right. That is a cursor. Okay. Since I cannot use mouse inside that, I'm not able to show you exactly where it is. But you can see below this particular position right now, there is a cursor. Okay. Which means you are typing there right now. Okay. Now, the first command what I have to learn is, okay, I want to know the time on this particular system. In Windows, in general, we use this one, right? In the bottom taskbar, you can see the time, date, time, everything here. But what about Linux operating system? If I want to see that, you have to execute one command. So let me open the notepad as well. So that let me tell you what are the commands I'm teaching today. Sorry, guys. Just a second. The cursor is inside the system. So that's it. Yeah. First, we'll be talking about date commands. Let us say date commands. Okay. So DATE, date. That's all. What happened? You can see Wednesday, May 14th, and the timestamp. Now, can someone tell me what is the time zone here? See, you know the time zone, right? IST, UTC, CST, PST, time zones. What is the time zone on the screen? What you're seeing right now?
UTC.
Sorry, UTC time zone. So the see, I'm staying in US. Sorry, I'm staying in India right now. It doesn't mean that my system will also show the same time zone, right? So it will show the time zone as a default, which means when I installed the operating system, it took a default time zone as UTC. Okay, that's what we need to understand. Okay, if I need to change, okay, of this particular system time zone, that we can do it actually. Just a second, guys. Sorry. Yeah. So now I want to change the time zone of this particular system. I want to show the time according to the IST. If I need to do that, just you have to execute a command called time date CTL. Okay, and then this is the command. This is another command actually, time date CTL. After that, I want to list the time zones, what my system is supporting right now. So list time zones. Here, the advantage is, let us say I don't know what are the options I need to pass here. I'm new to this particular operating system, Linux especially. Now, if you know the starting characters of that particular option, let us say LIS. If you don't know that, give a tab on the keyboard for 2 times. You know the tab, right? On the left side corner, you will see it. Okay. If you give the tab, you can see it is auto completed. This is called as auto complete. Okay. Auto complete in the sense you don't need to type the whole characters. Starting characters, if you give and if you give a tab, it will auto complete. Okay. Now enter. You can see the time zones. You can give enter to scroll down. You can see Africa, America, time zone. Okay, and you will see Asia as well, like this in the list. You can see Asia list. In that, you can see Asia, Kolkata. I think Calicut will be there, and then Delhi also will be there. You can see here, right? Okay, there is a Kolkata as well in the middle of the screen somewhere. Okay, now I want to set to do that. If you want to come out of that particular screen, you have to give Q. Again, you can see there is a cursor. Q for quit. Okay. So let's say if you want to list the time zone, list time zones like this. You can see on the screen by giving enter, or you can give down arrow to scroll down the list. If you want to come out of this particular list on the screen right now, Q for quit. Okay. Now I want to change it. My requirement is I want to change it. Or let us say, let me try to filter this. This is not necessary, too advanced for you. Okay. Now I want to change the time zone. So let me write in the notepad. So we have seen the command like time, date, CTL. In this, we are seeing the options like list time zones, time zones. Now I'm showing you the option called set time zone. Set time zone. Okay, the second option. How to change the timestamp. Now set hyphen time zone. Okay, and then Asia. Okay, this is what it is, and then enter. But here you can see it is asking for password. Okay, I'll tell you why it is asking for this particular password is I am not a root user. Okay, in Windows, who is a super user in Windows operating system? You will create one user and you will log in. But who is the super user of your Windows operating system? Means he can do anything on that system. Does anyone know? Any guess? It is a default one. Any Windows system, you will see that user. Administrator. You might have seen, right? Administrator, run as administrator. Sometimes you will see an application, right? And sometimes when you are installing some applications, it will ask you yes or no. Okay. So he is a super user. In Windows operating system, the username called administrator, he is a super user of Windows operating system, which means he has full privileges. He doesn't have any restrictions. So similar to that, in Linux operating system, who is a super user? Root user. The username itself is root, ROOT, root. Now I'm not a root user, right? I'm a test user. So that's the reason why it is asking you the password. Okay, let me give that. Test 123. Authentication complete. Okay. Now what happened? Authentication is completed. You can see there. Means my password what I've given is valid and the task has been completed. How will you prove that your time zone has been changed or not? Now the time zone has been changed according to the output one, what I'm seeing right now. How will you confirm that? Whether the time zone is changed or not? Any answers?
Again, send the command
Same
date.
command. Simple. If I want to see the output again, I need to give talk to my operating system. Please give me the timestamp of this particular system. So date command, obviously. What happened right now? It is IST. Exactly it is 7:25. You can see this. It is printing even the seconds as well. Okay. When I executed that. Simple. It is as simple as that. If you want to change it back to UTC time zone or any other time zone, you can do that. Earlier, what happened is maybe long back before we have an older version of kernel of the operating system, we used to reboot the system. That is mandate. Whenever we are changing the date timestamp of this particular Linux operating system, we used to reboot. Okay, but nowadays, no reboot, nothing. We can change at any given time. Okay, any questions on this? I hope it is pretty simple one, not too complex. Yeah. Okay. Next one. Now, I'll compare. Before you understand the whole concept of Linux, sometimes I will compare with Windows operating system. Okay. So now I want to know which user I am right now. I have logged in with one user. I want to know which user is. I want to print that output. Okay. By looking at this particular output, I can understand that I'm a test user. You can see there, I'm a test user. Below that cursor, you can see the mouse right is pointing where. Below that, you can see he's a test user at name of the system. But I want to print that as an output instead of looking at that screen. For that, there is a command called who am I? Who am I? I'm a test user. You can see, so which user you are right now? I'm a test user. To know that what is the command? Who am I? It is as simple as that. Who am I? That is the third command. See, for now, what you will feel is this commands are really important? See, it is not in all the situations. Sometimes you might be writing a shell scripting, or you might fall into that particular requirement. We never know, right? When we will fall into that particular requirement. So we have to understand that for every information that we need to get from the operating system, we have a command. Okay. Among that is nothing but who am I, time date CTL, date command, whatever I've executed till now. Okay. And next one is now, what is a better example? Yeah. Okay. I'll go with the Windows now. In Windows operating system, let me just show you one thing. Just a second, guys. Where is the cursor? Here it is in the bottom. Okay. Windows operating system, right? If I go to my drive, if I need to see the data that is available inside this particular drive, I have to double click, and it is a GUI. By looking at that, I can understand which is a directory and which is a file, right? And I can see the list of files. So remember, there is a technical term called files. It is not singular, it is plural. S. Okay. Files in the sense what? It could be a file or it could be a directory. Does anyone know the difference between file and directory? I'm not talking about Linux, I'm talking about Windows only. We call it as folder in Windows. What is the difference between direct file and folder? You can tell whatever you know. No hesitations, please. Any answers?
File is to store data
Okay. Yeah. File is to
and
store the
store
data.
data.
Okay.
Folder organize the files.
Folder, yeah. Directory or a folder will store the files. File. Okay. It doesn't store any data. In directory, will you store any data? Have you ever seen that? No. Only in the file we will store the actual data. Okay. Directory is a bunch of files. Okay. So that's what we do. That's a basic difference. So in Linux operating system, technically the folder is called as directory, a technical term. That's all. File is a file. That's all. Okay. Why I'm talking about this particular point is here you can see the directory folder and the file. You can see folders and files. Okay. Different format and all. That's a different thing. Okay. Visually by looking at that, I can understand which is a folder and which is a file. Now, if I want to see the files under this particular directory or a folder, I have to double click and have to look into that particular files, right? So this is how it is. In the same way, I'm somewhere in particular location. I want to see the list of files. Okay. Now for that, we have to give a command called list. The shortcut is ls, list. That is a command. And then enter. You can see I don't have any files as of now. Okay. ls is nothing but list. In Windows operating system, we have to double click. For example, here, automatically it is showing you the files. When I entered into this particular drive, automatically it is showing you the files. If I go inside that also, it will show you automatically. But in Linux operating system, you have to execute a command to see the list of files in the current working directory. So this is my current working directory for Windows. Where I am right now, that is called as current working directory. What is my current working directory? As of now, where you are in that particular directory. Okay, the path. You can say this is called as a path. Under D drive, you are inside the documents folder. Under D drive, you are inside the documents folder. So this is the path where you are right now. Now inside that particular path, you have this particular files. As of now, we have only folders. There are no files available. file available. Okay. Yeah. Now, similar to that in Linux operating system, if you want to list a files in the current working directory, we have to give ls. That's all. And there is one more point as well. There is a hidden files. Does anyone know what is hidden files? Files, hidden files. It could be a folder or it could be a file. What is meant by hidden files? Have you ever come across that particular topic or ever heard about it? All these are regular files. I don't see any hidden file here. Now I'll show you where is the hidden files. Can someone tell me there are some hidden files here? Hidden.
No,
HIDDEN.
actually, in the settings, if we change it to show hidden files, it will show the what are the files hidden in the directory.
No, let us, I don't want to go to any settings right now. Visually, while looking at this particular output, I have to understand which file is a hidden, whether it could be a file or a folder. There are some particular hidden files. How will you confirm that? There is a representation, right?
It looks like a shadow-like thing.
I'll
It
tell you.
appears like
The simple logic is any file or a folder will start with a dot. You can see here, what's the name of this particular folder? Dot AWS, dot Azure, dot Cube, dot SSH, dot VirtualBox. But you can see this is not a hidden folder. This is a regular folder. Are you seeing any dot before this? No. The name of the files will start with dot. Those are called as hidden files. You can see there is a file with the name called dot vim info, dot booto, sorry, dot bash history. All these are hidden files. Okay. Now, in the same way, Linux operating system, I want to print hidden files as well, along with the regular files. Then we have to give for the same command, I have to pass hyphen A. Hyphen A in the sense all. Either you can give like this, the shortcut is hyphen A. This method is called as options. Hyphen A is called as option. So I'll tell you. Imagine this is just a normal information. Now, what is the command we are learning with? ls. Okay. Now, ls is a command. You need to understand that. Now, for that command, I'm passing hyphen A by giving some space. That is an option. Every command will have options. For now, to print the hidden files in the current working directory, I have given hyphen A. Hyphen A in the sense all. Okay. Now we can see there are some files which are dot bash logout, dot bash rc, dot cache. That is a directory. Actually, I'll tell you which is a directory, which is a file. Dot less hst, dot profile, dot sh. Okay. So all these are hidden files. But among this, how I will understand which is a file and which is a directory? There is a color representation actually. Blue colors are nothing but directories. White color, what you see on the screen is files actually. That is a representation visually. But that is not the case to identify technically. Technically, there has to be some representation, right? So I'll tell you how to do that. So in order to know which is a file and which is a directory, I need to print the output. Along with this, I want to pass one more option. We can do like this. One more option is hyphen L. That is L actually. We can execute. It will print. But instead of giving these options individually, we can club them together. What does it mean? For ls command, I can pass hyphen A and then followed by L. No need to give individually. What I mean to say is you can club them together as a single option. Okay, enter. You can see. Do you see any difference in the output? The above output and the below output, there is no difference at all. Okay, so that's what it is. Now coming back to the point. Okay, so what is the conclusion of this? If you want to pass multiple options, either you can give a space to the command and pass your options, or we can club them together. Okay. Now, coming back to the ls command. So here, you can see on the left side corner, the complete corner, left side corner, below the total 32, what you're seeing right now, look at the first column. There is somewhere you can see something like D, and in some places you can see something like hyphen. Okay. So D in the sense directory, hyphen in the sense regular file. So D is for directory. So that is a representation, which is a directory and which is a file. And hyphen is a regular file. Regular file. I'll tell you later what is meant by regular file, what is a compiled file, all these particular differences. So hyphen is a regular file where you will actually store the data and we can see it. Humans can read the data. That is called as regular file, whatever you have stored inside it. Okay. So D is for directory, hyphen is for regular file. Let me write the same data in the document. So among this, I'll just write here. D represents, I'll just write here like this. Okay. Directory, and the hyphen is for regular file. Okay. Any questions here? But to print this output, we have to give L option. Okay, done. Shall we go to the next command or any questions here? All right. Okay, let's go to the next one. Now, okay. Here. Now, I want to create a file in my directory. For example, in Windows operating system, if I want to create a directory here, what you will do? A folder. What are the options you know? You can tell me all the possible options. I'm not talking about anything related to Linux. In Windows, you are using regular basis, right? So how you will create a folder here
Click new option. You
in
can
this particular
create.
path? Sorry,
Click new option. That is present
here
on taskbar, right?
or here.
Yeah.
So this
Yeah.
is an option
Mhm.
what we can use in order to create a
Mhm.
folder, or else right click, new, and we can use this option as well, right? So these are the two options what we know in the Windows operating system how to create a folder. Then what about Windows operating system? There is a command. So now we understood, right? For everything that we do visually on the GUI, we will have a command for that. Okay. In the backend, what is happening in Windows, we are not worried about it. I'm not too much concerned about what is the process that is happening in the backend when I try to create a folder from GUI. Okay. So, but in Linux operating system, for everything, we have to know the commands. Yeah. So, in order to create a directory in Linux operating system, we use mkdir, means make directory. Make directory, mkdir. Okay, then space. I want to create one directory with a name called, for example, DevOps. And then now enter. If you want to create more than one directory, just give a space. I want to create one more directory called DevSecOps. And if you want to create one more directory, give another space. Let us say AWS, like that. For now, I want to create two directories. One is DevOps and one is DevSecOps. Now, what happened? By looking at the output also, we can understand that the previous command what you have executed is successful because I'm not able to see any errors, right? So what does it mean? The command is successful. Okay. But I want to see whether the directories have been created or not. The command is successful. I want to see the task is successful or not. How will you do that? I want to list the files. That is the only option what we have, right? List. What happened? The directory has been created. If you want to see more information, just I want to give ls minus l. You can see these two are directories. You can see the starting of that particular line, it is D. D in the sense what? Directory. Okay. Next thing. How will you remove a directory? You created a directory. What does it mean? Inside that particular directory, you don't have any files. How will you see that? ls minus l. Either you can go inside the directory and you can print ls command, or else in the same location, you can print the information of another path. So you can just give the directory name under which you want to see the information. Under DevOps directory, I want to see whether we have any files or not. So no files, zero. What about DevSecOps? Let us see. Nothing. So there are no files under this particular directory. What does it mean? Those are empty directories. Those are empty directories. Now, next one. How will you remove this directory? rm dir, remove directory. Make directory, remove directory. Okay. And then which directory you want to remove? DevOps. You can see the command is successful. But if I want to see whether it is done or not, ls command, ls minus l, you can see DevOps directory has been removed. DevSecOps has been still available. Now here you need to understand that in Windows we have a recycle bin. What is the advantage of that? For example, accidentally you have removed the directory or some particular files. Again, we can restore it to the original state, right? It is possible to do, but in a Linux operating system, it is not possible. So you have to be so careful. Okay. So you have to be so careful before deleting a file or a directory. So important. Okay. Do remember this. Now, let us say under this particular DevSecOps directory, I want to create one more directory. How we can do that? In the same location. I'm somewhere in the location right now, but I want to create a directory not in the current working directory. I want to create a directory under DevSecOps. Okay, under that. So how will you do that? Without moving into the directory, mkdir, first give the path where you want to create it. I want to create under DevSecOps, then slash, that is forward slash. Remember, there is slash, this is called as forward slash. And this is called as backward slash. Okay, in Windows operating system, we use backward slash in Windows. I will show you one example. You can see here, right? Backward slash. From directory to directory separation, it will show you backward slash. Whereas in Linux operating system, it is forward slash. Linux, Unix, even Mac also. Mac OS. Because Mac OS is similar to Unix flavor. That's the reason. Okay. Yeah. So we have talked about mkdir command and we talked about rmdir command. Okay. Now, so hope you understood. See, guys, please pause me if you guys are getting confused. Okay. Now, under this directory, I want to create another directory or a file. No, I want to create a directory. So I would say DevSecOps, right? I will say I want to create a directory called cloud. Then enter. Now, what happened? That directory is not created here. Where the directory has been created, it is created under DevSecOps cloud. Now, under that particular cloud, the directory is empty. The directory is empty right now. Okay. Now, if I try to remove this particular DevSecOps folder, what does it mean? In Windows operating system, if you try to understand that, for example, Let us say we have documents. Now, if I delete this particular folder, what will happen? The entire files, what you have under that will be lost, right? What are the files you have under that? It could be a file or folders, subfolders, whatever you have, everything will be lost. Okay. That is one thing that you have to understand. Now, similar to that, I want to remove this particular directory. Which one? DevSecOps. What will happen? Whatever the data that you have, means whatever the files you have under that particular DevSecOps will be lost. Okay. But before that, let me give it a try. rm dir command. What are the previous command we have used? I'm using the same command to remove the directory, DevSecOps, and then enter. What it is trying to say? Is the command got successful or it got failed? First question.
Fine.
Failed. What is the reason for failure? Any guess?
Because it's in a subfolder.
So technically it is saying you that the directory is not empty. It is not empty directory, right? We have some files. We don't know whether it is a file or a directory. For example, I'm saying, okay, there are some files under the directory. It is not empty. That's the reason why by default we cannot use rmdir command. In place of this, what is an option we have to use? Rm remove hyphen r. The option what we have to use is hyphen r. Okay, recursive. Hyphen r option is nothing but recursive. And then we have to pass a directory name. Even though if you have any subdirectories under that or a files under that, it will get removed. Your entire data will be lost. You have to be so careful with this command. Okay. Here it has failed. In the previous command, it got failed, but here it will not fail. Okay. You can say it got executed. What does it mean? Your directory got lost. Okay. That's the reason it's a dangerous command, which means you have to be so careful before executing that. You have to cross check multiple times whether you are doing the right thing or not. But since it's our practice, we can create and delete a number of times until we understand the concept. Okay. Yeah. Any questions here? Now, what you understood from rmdir command and rm command? rmdir will remove empty directories by default. Empty directories, which it cannot remove non-empty directories. Rm command can remove empty directories as well as non-empty directories. It can do both the things. Okay. With rm command, we can remove the files as well. Additionally, with rm command, we can remove the files as well. Okay. Now let me talk about how to create a files. If you are okay to this particular options, what I've teached. Any questions here?
No.
No? Okay, good. Let's go to the next one. Now I don't have any files. Let me create one directory again. I want to create with the name called DevOps. Okay. In the current working directory, I want to create a file. For example, empty file. I want to create an empty file on this particular directory. Current working directory, not under DevOps. So touch is a command. Touch is to create an empty file in Linux operating system flavors. And I want to create a file with the name called, let us say, with my name. Okay. And you can see the file has been created. And you can see the size of the file, it is empty, 0. Where you can see that below May, you can see there is a 0 value. What does it mean? The file is not having no data. The file doesn't have any data. That is the reason why it is showing you 0. It is an empty file as expected. Now I want to create another file under DevOps folder. How to do that? Touch command, give the path where you want to create it. So under DevOps, I want to create a file with the name called cloud. Or let us say, yeah, cloud. It got created. But how will you verify? ls minus l, give the directory path. Sorry. You can see the file has been created. Done. Now, in order to create a file, it could be an empty file or you might having some data inside that particular file. It doesn't matter. If you want to remove a file, rm command. If you use -r, we can remove the directory. Okay. But if you use rm command, I can remove the file. Let us say my file. That's it. Okay. Now, if I want to remove the file called cloud under DevOps folder, just give the path and give the file name which you want to delete. It got deleted. Okay. Now we can see the file has been removed. You can just cross check. So this will take some time for you guys to understand until you don't practice. So that's the reason I say always you go back, listen to the video, pause it, and execute the command, see the result as expected or not, and then try to understand the concept. It is as simple as that to learn the concept, the new things what you are hearing right. If you are familiar, then fine. No need to worry too much about it. Next one. Now here my requirement is there is one particular requirement. I learned about how to create a file and how to create a directory. That's fine. Now I have a requirement where that is simple requirement. I want to create a files under this particular directory right now, not under DevOps in the current working directory. Okay. So where you are right now, I'm saying current working directory, right? So here, for example, if I go to Windows, I'm going to my PC. If I'm going to D drive, under that I will go to videos. Under that we have let us say GitHub. I have some videos here. Okay. Now, if I want to see where you are, I just want to know the path where I am right now. What is how I will come to know? Any guess? I want to know where I am right now. Is there a way? What is the path where you are right now? Anyone? No?
In top, we can see right
Yes.
this
Here we can see it
PC.
right. This is nothing but path. Under D drive, you're under the videos, under the GitHub directory you are right now. So this is the path where you are right now. I'm able to see it. But what about Linux operating system? I want to know where I am right now. The path. For that, we have a command called pwd, present working directory. The shortcut is pwd, present working directory. That is a command. So where you are right now, under slash, slash is one directory. How we have a D drive in Windows operating system, right? Slash is one drive, but technically we call it as directory. Slash, under that there is a home directory. Under that we have test user directory. So this is the path for the previous command what we have executed. So what are the commands I'm executing right now? I'm executing from this particular path, from inside this path. Okay. That's what we need to understand. What is this path and all? We'll discuss that later. What is this slash home test user and all? When I talk about users and permissions, you will understand that. Okay. For now, where you are, I'm under this particular path. That's what you need to understand. Everybody will not see the same path. Everybody might see slash home slash, but after that, the name will get changed based on which user you are right. Okay. Since I'm a test user, there is a directory called test user. I'm inside that particular directory. Okay. Coming back to the actual point. Now my requirement is under this particular directory, I want to create some bunch of files with the names like, for example, demo 01, demo 02, demo 03, demo 04, and then demo 05. I want to create a files like this with this name. What you will say? We can keep like this particular spaces, and then we can use a command called touch. This will work. This will for sure work. It will create all the 5 files. Fine. But there is a shortcut as well. This particular shortcut will work only when you have a sequence of numbers. Sequence of numbers. So here, what is a common thing for all the file names? What is a common thing? Common portion?
Demo. Demo.
Demo 0. 0 is also common, right? Demo 0 is common. What is getting changed? 1, 2, 3, 4. That is a sequence, right? So that is the reason why when you have this kind of approach, only in this particular scenario, we can use flower braces, or we can also call it as curly braces. Okay, inside that, what is the first number? 1. What is the last number? 5. That's it. In between them, you have to give two dots. Range, we call it as range from 1 to 5. That is called as range. And now if I give enter, now it will try to create a files with a name called demo01, demo02, demo03, demo04, and demo04. Only in this particular scenarios only we can use this particular shortcut. There is a question like if your file names are quite different, it is not like demo01, demo02 like that. One file name is DevOps, one file name is AWS, one file name is Azure. The names are quite different. In those conditions, this shortcut is not useful. Clearly, I'm saying you that. This shortcut is only useful when you have this kind of sequence. Okay. And even if I want to remove that, for remove, we have a command called rm. I can use the same shortcut to remove the files as well in sequence. So demo 0, 1 to 5. That's it. All the files will be removed. You can see there. Got it? So this is all for today. So we talked about rm command, rmdir command, rm command we have talked about. So we talked about touch command, near the command. We have talked about pwd command, present working directory. And then, yeah, hardly 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 commands. But for tomorrow, I will increase the number of commands that we discuss. Okay. It's starting day, right? Means you guys have to get familiar with the topics. So that's the reason yesterday I picked only a simple topic of installing the operating system, setting up the virtual machine and installing the operating system. Today we have talked about little bit of commands. Okay, these commands I'll give you in the chat. I hope you guys are able to access the chat, right? Even after the session. Can someone confirm, please? You guys are able to access the chat even after the class? Okay, done. Yeah. So we can copy paste somewhere in your local system and save this particular data.